Developing right now on Morning News Now, the son of Rob Reiner now officially charged with murder. Nick Reiner facing the possibility of the death penalty over the stabbing deaths of his parents at their Los Angeles home. We'll break down the charges as new details come to light. And breaking overnight, terrorism and murder charges filed against the surviving suspect in the deadly anti-Semitic mass shooting at Australia's iconic Bondi Beach. We'll bring you the latest. Also this morning, facing the fallout, President Trump taking aim at Vanity Fair and defending his chief of staff over a candid interview he calls a disingenuously framed hit piece. Plus, escalation as the president orders the blockade of oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela. Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, lawmakers still at odds over a bill to fund health care for millions.
I am pissed for the American people. This is absolute. So maybe, just maybe, everybody should look at this and say, how do we actually fix the healthcare system?
We'll take you to Washington for more on the fight and what it could mean for you. Developing this morning, Mother Nature showing no mercy as severe storms threaten more flooding across the Pacific Northwest. We are tracking the conditions and the areas most at risk, plus what you can expect where you live. And from a career back to college, you heard that right, more middle-aged adults already in the workforce choosing to go back to school. We'll look at what is behind the trend and what it could mean for the job market. I always think about how it'd be more fun to go to school now that I'm older. Appreciate it more.
Or you'd realize, oh, wait, this is the thing I've had nightmares about for the last 20 years. Now I'm living it again.
The homework part.
Good to have you with us this morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We're happy you're with us. We're going to start this hour with the latest on the deaths of filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele. The couple's son, Nick, is now facing 2 counts of first-degree murder and is being held without bail. The district attorney says that capital punishment is not off the table.
These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty.
This morning, we have newly obtained video showing the moment Nick Reiner was captured by police outside of a Los Angeles convenience store. We're also learning new details about his complicated relationship with his parents and his struggles with addiction. NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris is standing by. First, NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky has the latest from outside the Hall of Justice in L.A. Morgan, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. We're just hours away now from 32-year-old Nick Reiner's arraignment here in downtown Los Angeles. Just barely 48 hours after police took him into custody following the brutal slayings of his father, Rob, and mother, Michele. And we've now learned who is representing the son of Rob Reiner, and that is noted defense attorney Alan Jackson, whose past clients include Karen Reed, who was accused of murdering her boyfriend but was then later acquitted, Harvey Weinstein, as well as the sexual assault case against Kevin Spacey. We had a chance to see Jackson outside of the courthouse yesterday, where he told us that his client was not appearing in court just yet because he had yet to pass a medical screening inside the jail. That was anticipated to have taken place at some point yesterday, which is why this arraignment is set for this morning. We believe he will be there in person, which will be his first public appearance since being taken into custody on Sunday. Police sharing new images, and we've also obtained some new surveillance video of that moment where you can see in one case Reiner walk into a gas station, buy a drink, and then in another, watch officers close in on him at a park near USC's campus here in downtown L.A. As for the charges now officially against Reiner, they include the murder of both his mother and father. The maximum sentence is life in prison without the possibility of parole, as well as the death penalty. But the district attorney making it very clear that decision has yet to be made. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Morgan Chesky, thank you for that report.
Now let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris. She joins us here on set. Misty, good morning. So let's talk specifically about this charge, first-degree murder. What does that take? Put in context for us exactly what that means.
Yeah, so in yesterday's press conference, we didn't learn too much about any new evidence that we might see. We'll learn that when the probable cause affidavit becomes public. But the charges tell us a lot. First-degree murder means that this was an intentional, premeditated murder. That's what prosecutors believe. Now, couple that with special circumstances, that is an enhancement that makes the penalty even more severe, life without the possibility of parole or possibly the death penalty. Now, this is opposed to If he was charged with second-degree murder, for instance, that would be a heat of passion type murder. So they're looking at this as a premeditated act.
As we heard there yesterday, Nick Reiner's attorney said he wasn't medically cleared to appear in court. What could that mean? And then how do they determine that he is cleared to be in court perhaps as early as today?
So this is largely a procedural process. It's part of the intake process at any jail where he's being housed, that he has to go through a medical evaluation. Now, that's very procedural, but there's another threshold question that I'm sure he's got high-profile lawyer Alan Jackson, really well-known defense attorney, whether or not he is competent. Now, that's a legal term about his mental state at this moment. Does he understand the charges against him, and can he participate in his own defense? It's often something that's explored at the beginning of a case when there are potential mental health issues at play.
Nick Reiner is scheduled for an arraignment later today. What could we learn then?
So he's going to put in a plea. The type of charge that he has, this murder with special circumstances, is not a bail-eligible offense. So he will remain behind bars. And this is going to be the first procedural step in what will ultimately be something that could potentially go to trial. We may learn more. I'm looking for when the district attorney files the probable cause affidavit. That's when we're going to learn a lot more about the underlying evidence to justify these charges.
All right, Misty Maris, thank you so much.
Washington is still feeling the aftershocks after that explosive set of Vanity Fair interviews with White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. In the two-part piece, Wiles speaks surprisingly candidly about President Trump and other top members of his administration, even going so far as to say her boss has, quote, an alcoholic's personality. Wiles is now pushing back, calling it a, quote, disingenuously framed hit piece. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us now with more on this and the fallout. Monica, good morning.
Joe, good morning. There is so much to unpack here. These are completely unguarded comments from the Chief of Staff who participated in this over the course of a year. We took a look at these eye-popping series of interviews and what is making the most news right now. Take a look.
So, Susie Trump, do you know Susie Trump? Sometimes referred to as Susie Wiles, Susie Trump. She's the great chief of staff.
The most powerful woman in the West Wing, making waves with incredibly revealing new comments published in Vanity Fair. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles weighing in on everything from the president's behavior to top cabinet secretary's job performance to major decisions she says she disagreed with. While talking about her alcoholic father and acknowledging her view would be clinically controversial, while saying the president, quote, has an alcoholic's personality and operates with a view that there's nothing he can't do. Nothing, zero, nothing. Wiles disclosing she had a, quote, loose agreement with the president that the score settling for his political opponents would end before the first 90 days are over, while acknowledging the president will, quote, go for an opportunity for retribution if he sees one. Also sharing that she had early reservations about pardoning the January 6 rioters, and that she wished the president had handled his major tariffs policy differently, saying, quote, there have been a couple of times where I've been outvoted, and if there's a tie, he wins.
The ice baby, we call her the ice baby.
Wiles is quoted as saying Attorney General Pam Bondi completely whiffed the initial rollout of the Jeffrey Epstein files, and she disputes President Trump's claim that former President Bill Clinton visited Epstein's island 28 times, saying, quote, there is no evidence of that, and that her boss was wrong about there being anything incriminating about Clinton in the files. She calls J.D. Vance's evolution from a Trump critic to vice president as, quote, sort of political, and argues he's been a conspiracy theorist for a decade, while backing him as the 2028 nominee. Vance responding in Pennsylvania.
Sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. And by the way, Susie and I have joked in private and in public about that for a long time.
Wiles spoke to author Chris Whipple about a dozen times this year for the Vanity Fair spread, which also features VP Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. But the Chief of Staff taking issue with what she called the disingenuously framed hit piece, saying significant context was disregarded from her on-the-record statements and that much of what she had to say about the president was left out of the story.
I've never seen her be disloyal to the president of the United States, and that makes her the best White House Chief of Staff that I think the president could ask for.
So, Monica, well, it doesn't seem like anyone's denying that she said what she said, presumably because I'm guessing there are some recordings here. Just how are President Trump and the White House responding to these interviews?
Yeah, author Chris Whipple, Joe, does say that he has audio of all of these interviews, that he's not planning to release that. But the White House really rallied around Susie Wiles. The president himself says he has confidence in his chief of staff. He called her fantastic. He said that he even agreed with her assessment that he does seem to have a, quote, alcoholic's personality, even though he doesn't drink. And he said that if he was somebody who was susceptible to that, he agreed that that could be a problem. But what you were really seeing from the cabinet overall, the people who interact with her day to day, her top aides, all of them coming to her defense. But I think that's really important to point out, Joe, what you hinted at. Nobody is taking issue with what she actually said here on the record in these interviews. They are saying they're taking issue with the framing and with the context specifically. But again, this was on the record, 11 interviews over the course of the last year.
Monica, the other big story that we are following out of the White House this morning, we mentioned this at the top of the show, President Trump ordering this blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers leaving and entering Venezuela. Tell us about this announcement and the reaction from Venezuela.
This is really just the latest move in a continued pressure campaign against Nicolas Maduro, against the leader of Venezuela and his regime. This is really an attempt by the United States to continue to ratchet up anything that could potentially force him to make a different decision or to leave, to step down. Remember that the president has said he believes Maduro's days are, quote, numbered. But when you look at this economic move specifically when it comes to this blockade, this applies to, according to the president, sanctioned oil tankers. So that is something like 30 or so tankers that operate in this vicinity that the president is saying cannot go toward Venezuela and continue with this kind of action. As for Venezuela's response, they are calling this, quote, grotesque and completely, quote, irrational. They are responding in very, very strong terms. But this really just sets up the continued pressure. As we know, there are many U.S. military assets in the region. If the U.S. decides to go further, we know the president has been teasing potential land strikes in Venezuela for days and weeks now as well.
And Monica, amid all these developments, the president has asked the networks for airtime to address the nation tonight. It appears the networks are going to give him that airtime, even though there's not like a specific issue he appears ready to address. I mean, what do we think he's going to talk about?
Yeah, all that we've really heard from the White House is that this is going to be kind of like a year-end review from the White House perspective of what they say are their perceived accomplishments, what the president believes he's been able to do on the economy, of course, a really hot-button issue that the president has been on defense on when it comes to affordability and what many Americans say they feel just doesn't really align with their own reality, their own experiences, even if there are economic indicators that the White House says are good and that they are continuing to point to. So I think you're going to hear a little bit about that, but some of these other topics as well. The president likely will touch on domestic issues as well as some overseas issues, and he's going to be doing that tonight. And according to the White House press secretary, teasing some potential new policy for next year. Guys.
All right, Monica, thank you so much.
Well, on Capitol Hill, the clock is ticking for Congress to pass a new plan to reduce the cost of health care before those subsidies tied to the Affordable Care Act expire in just 2 weeks from today. The House is set to vote on a GOP plan later this afternoon.
Last night, an 11th-hour attempt by moderate Republicans to expand these subsidies failed. Millions of Americans will likely see their premiums dramatically spike when the subsidies expire, with Speaker Mike Johnson effectively shutting the door yesterday on any possibility of extending them before the year ends.
We looked for a way to try to allow for that pressure release valve, and it just was not to be. We worked on it all the way through the weekend, in fact, and in the end, there was not an agreement.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin joins us from Washington with more on this important issue. Julie, good morning. So what's the reaction been like among Republicans to Speaker Johnson's decision to not hold a vote on extension of these Affordable Care Act subsidies?
Savannah and Joe, good morning. It depends on which Republican you ask. I talked to a handful of moderate Republicans yesterday. They were meeting several times throughout the day, trying to get Speaker Johnson convinced enough to allow them to vote on this amendment, essentially to extend those Affordable Care Act subsidies, because they are in swing districts. They have constituents who are going to lose their access to this care. I want you to take a listen to what one of them, Mike Lawler from New York, had to tell me yesterday, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
To not have a vote on the extension with reforms, with conservative reforms, income limits, elimination of zero premium plans, PBM reform, HSA expansion, to not do that is idiotic. It is political malpractice. You know what's funny? 3/4 of people on Obamacare are in states Donald Trump won. So maybe, just maybe, everybody should look at this and say, how do we actually fix the healthcare system?
All right, so their attempt, despite how idiotic you hear Lawler saying this is, to add those subsidy extensions to this package that House Republicans want to pass, that failed in the Rules Committee, which is kind of the first procedural step. It's making these moderates angry, they're frustrated, and a final vote on that health care package without those subsidies is supposed to happen today.
So, Julie, just remind us what is, as of now, in the GOP health care plan, and with some of these moderates not happy with how things are going, does it appear to have enough support?
Well, they still say they're going to vote for it. That's the funny thing about Congress. They might hate the bill, but they're probably going to support it at the end because they are Republicans and it is their party's effort. I will also add it is probably going nowhere in the Senate because what this package includes is essentially a few measures that they've already voted on in the last couple of months. It increases the options on the healthcare marketplace, but it doesn't give any additional money in the form of health savings accounts, which is something the president supported, or those subsidy extensions for people on the Affordable Care Act. That means millions will see their premiums skyrocket come the new year. Democratic leaders, I asked Leader Schumer, for example, are still urging Republicans to pass a 3-year extension. That is not going to happen. There are 2-year extensions on the table, but so far, Democratic leaders are telling their members not to support that. Republicans, meanwhile, conservatives at least, do not want to see these subsidies extended. So I think you're going to see an expiration of these subsidies at the end of the year.
Julie, we've got one more big story from Washington we've been following. We want to talk to you about some lawmakers are going to see this unedited video this morning of that September 2nd strike on an alleged drug boat in the Pacific. Tell us the purpose of showing this unedited video. What could happen here?
Well, so remember a handful of Republicans and Democrats in the House and Senate a couple of weeks ago got to see a classified version of this video. This was the series of strikes that happened back in September, since extremely controversial because those 2 survivors of the alleged drug boat were killed in the second strike. They got to see that video, but nobody else did. So yesterday, Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio, they were on the Hill briefing all 100 senators and House members on the contents of that strike, on their plan on Venezuela and these drug boats moving forward. They got an earful from Republicans and Democrats telling them they must release that video, not only to lawmakers, but to the American public. I'm told Hegseth pushed back and said it was too sensitive, too classified. It could reveal the details of their operation. So the only members that could see the unedited version today are members of the Senate and House Armed Services Committees. Certainly Democrats on that panel have major questions as to the extent of these strikes, whether they are lawful, and what the administration's plan is.
All right, Julie Sirkin, thank you very much.
Police in Rhode Island are turning to the public for help as they continue searching for the Brown University shooter. With the urgent manhunt now entering its 5th day, authorities are offering a reward for any information on. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin joins us now from Providence, Rhode Island, with the latest on the investigation. Aaron, good morning.
Joe, good morning. Law enforcement has released gunmen. With the Brown University shooter still at large, law enforcement released these new enhanced images, as well as this video showing time-stamped movements of a person of interest that begins 2 hours before the shooting.
We believe that he was actually casing out this area to commit the crime.
Authorities say the new footage, stitched together using clips from homes, businesses, even dash cam footage, shows a man walking through the surrounding neighborhood. In another clip captured almost an hour before the attack, you can see him walking past the building where the shooting took place. But you never see him enter the building, and authorities say they still have no footage of the gunman carrying out the attack.
In that older part of the building, there are fewer, if any, cameras in that location.
As students reflect on the traumatic incident.
We heard loud bangs.
They're like, you need to get outside right now, run as fast as you can.
It comes as another New England university is on edge after authorities say an MIT professor, Nuno Loureiro, was shot and killed in his home in Brookline, Massachusetts. The death being investigated as a homicide, and police have released no information about a suspect, but authorities say there seems to be no connection to the Brown shooting. Back in Providence, the community pausing to mourn the 2 victims, Mohammed Aziz Umerzakov and Ella Cook. Mohammed's friends saying he represented the best of Brown.
He's just that guy who goes around and says hi to people. He's such a joyful guy.
Brown University has come under increasing pressure about its security arrangements. Overnight, President Trump weighing in, posting on Truth Social, asking why there weren't more cameras inside of the building. Yesterday, Brown's president defending the university, saying it saddens her to see people question the university's commitment to student safety. Joe.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much.
We're also following new details on the historic flooding in the Pacific Northwest that has now turned deadly. This morning, the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office says a 33-year-old man was killed after driving through a flooded portion of a road northeast of Seattle.
Now, if you take a look at your screen, we're going to show you drone footage of Pacific Washington. That's just south of Seattle. You're looking at the second area this week facing the impacts of a levee breach. The ground there just too saturated. The failure of this system quickly turned residential streets into rivers, and forecasters say there is even more rain to come.
NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson joins us now live from Preston, Washington. That's east of Seattle with more. Steve, good morning. Talk to us about what you're seeing on the ground there right now.
Yeah, Savannah, so far it's been more of the same that we've seen since we've been on the ground, which is sort of a good news, bad news situation. The good news is that so far we haven't had this deluge event that could have been predicted in the forecast, this dumping of rain in these specific problem areas, primarily in areas like you see behind me, where the rivers are raging at flood stage or higher, which could cause more problems for these low-lying communities that we've really seen, again, since we've been on the ground. What we have seen overnight, and really the primary culprit, has been the wind. We've seen wind gusts up to 50, 55, 60 mile an hour. And what that's meant so far has been pockets of extreme trees that have been down or power outages that have been scattered throughout the state. But as far as this possible rain event that could have caused mass flooding, we haven't seen that so far. Now, that is only to say it's still 4 o'clock in the morning. More rain, as you mentioned, is in the forecast, 70 to 80 to 100% possible coming up in the next few hours. So all of this still could hit. But so far, at least, we've dodged a bullet, guys.
Steve, we do want to ask you more about these levee breaches. You reported on the first one in Tukwila earlier this week. Emergency crews say that's under control, but now we've got this latest breach in Pacific. What are we learning about these failures? Do we know how many more are at risk in an area just so prone to flooding?
Yeah, that has been the primary concern since this week has started, primarily because of what happened last week. This region pounded with these over and over again atmospheric rivers, this deluge of rain, which is, again, surged rivers like this. It has provided, just an oversaturation of the soil. The levee system has been overloaded. Everything is just completely saturated, which has led to these levee breaches. The two that you mentioned were only about 12 hours apart. We know there's at least over 1,200 rescues and evacuations across the state, more than 600 rescues themselves. And then you look at the dams that are being monitored. There's at least 2 dams that are being currently watched very closely for the possibility that they could have breaches. We know that there's at least 13 state highways across the state that are closed or even in portions closed or that could be closed over the next coming days, depending on, again, what happens with this rain event. So there is widespread worry, and that is really the focus and the primary worry from officials, that the infrastructure simply is overloaded and it will not hold. And to that end, that's the reason why we've seen activation of the National Guard. That's why there's been extra sandbagging in this region to try to make sure that that doesn't happen. But again, it really all depends on the weather and what happens in the next 12, 24, 48 hours moving forward, guys.
Steve, forecasters say there's more rain on the way. At this point, though, as you've been reporting, the ground is completely saturated. What are authorities doing to prepare? What help do they need?
Yeah, again, they've called on their neighbors. Oregon has been a big help here. The National Guard, as mentioned, has been activated. They are on the ground. We've seen extra sandbagging in those areas where they have the HESCO barriers. That is the last levee that broke. It's a combination of sort of gravel and sand barriers. So they're making sure that those are more reinforced. But mainly, the primary thing is getting the word out, the message out to residents who live in these areas, telling them that they need to be ready to go at a moment's notice. We've seen now primary activations of what's called Go Now Level 3 notices. If you get a notice like that, it means you can't even bring your stuff. You got to go right now. We've seen that happen over and over again. If it happens again, they want to put the message out. You need to be ready to go. And especially those areas in which they have signs saying the road is closed, you can't go around those. So messaging, very strong, very important at this time, guys.
Steve Patterson, thank you very much, and stay safe.
Let's get more on the flood watch in the Pacific Northwest, which just does not seem to end. It's time for your Morning News Now weather.
Yeah, Angie Lastman has our details. Angie, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning to you. As Steve just mentioned, more rain on the way. We've got rain happening right now, and impactful conditions are going to last across this region for the next couple of days. Here's what we've got as far as the flood watches are concerned. You mentioned them. They continue to be up across this area. The blizzard warnings up also for the Olympics and the Cascades. So heads up for that. We've got more moisture on the way, and we're expecting anywhere from 2 to 8 inches of rain by the time this wraps up. Here's how this plays out through the day today. This storm system working well to the east and eventually becoming this kind of coast-to-coast headache that we'll have to deal with on the East Coast as the days go on. The Northwest, though, will continue to see that heavy rain, the strong winds, and that additional mountain snow through your day today. By tomorrow, much of this rain stretched across really the Great Lakes, down through the Appalachians, the Ohio Valley, and down through the Southeast. Notice the snow and the wind for parts of the upper Midwest. That's going to make travel difficult for our friends across that region for your Thursday. And then by Friday, all of that windswept rain kind of focusing on the I-95 corridor and points south of that. That means the travel along those roadways going to be difficult as well. The heavy snow band still setting up right downwind of the lakes. That's going to last here through your day on Friday. So again, maybe some difficult travel for folks there. Now, back focusing on the West Coast, because that is really where we're watching for the most impactful conditions through the day today. Notice that slight risk for flash flooding centered, stretching from Portland down to Eugene, including Crescent City. These are kind of the same areas that we've been concerned about for days and days. And I mentioned we have the potential to see upwards of maybe 8 inches in some spots. I think widespread amounts, 2 to 5 inches. But then we gear up for that next Atmos River event to kind of occur on Thursday. So additional rain. This goes through Friday. And this is why we're continuing to see the concern across that area. Meanwhile, we've got a good chunk of the country under these wind alerts. 30 million people stretching from the West Coast all the way to the Midwest, and you can see why. Look at these peak gusts through Thursday. 30, 40, 50, 60-plus mile-per-hour winds. Notice Bismarck going to peak into those low 60s. So this is, of course, going to cause some problems as well. We've got 40-mile-per-hour winds in Minneapolis, upper 50s across parts of the Midwest as well. So it's going to continue to be that kind of breezy and gusty conditions here across that region, guys, as that system moves to the east. Meanwhile, where the heck is winter? We've got upper 50s for the Plains. We've got 70s for Phoenix. Even Roanoke ending up at 57 degrees, guys, and we keep it kind of mild even as we get into tomorrow. 51 for New York City.
Wow.
We'll take it. No signs
rain,
of winter.
But 51.
Yeah.
So take what you can get.
You get what you get.
Something, yeah.
No signs of winter because it's not winter, technically, right?
Well, technically. I don't know. Meteorologists
When does that
consider
start?
the 1st of December the meteorological
Okay.
start of winter, but yes, astronomically, not quite
So
yet.
Angie's been living
When
in
is
winter
that?
for a
Soon,
while.
though.
Yeah, and
This weekend, right?
yes, this weekend,
There we
exactly.
go. Just in time for Santa.
Exactly.
Wow. Who's the meteorologist here? Look at Joe.
Joe Fryer put it on his resume.
I own a calendar. All right. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, lower risk. New research shows a link between the COVID vaccine and healthier pregnancies, what doctors want you to know.
Up first, though, new developments in that deadly mass shooting at a Hanukkah event on Australia's famous Bondi Beach. The charges just filed against the surviving suspect. That's next. Stay with us.
We are back with the latest on Australia's deadliest mass shooting in decades. Overnight, one of the gunmen suspected of carrying out the attack was charged. 24-year-old Naveed Akram stands accused of 59 offenses, including 15 counts of murder and 1 act of committing a terrorist act. Akram is one of 2 gunmen accused of opening fire at an event celebrating Hanukkah at Bondi Beach. He was critically injured in a shootout with police and was actually in a coma in the hospital before waking up to hear those charges. His father, who is the other alleged gunman, was killed in the shootout. Correspondent Sarah James is in Sydney with more on the investigation and the emerging acts of heroism.
The courageous confrontation. Dashcam video showing a bystander wrestling with a gunman, bravely trying to stop him, but the attacker killing him and his wife. Boris and Sophia Gurman died on the street in each other's arms just weeks before their 35th wedding anniversary. Investigators say 2 terrorists, a father and son, went on to unleash an anti-Semitic massacre, killing in all 15 people at a Hanukkah celebration on Bondi Beach.
Jewish Australians were hunted down in broad daylight. Early indications point to a terrorist attack inspired by Islamic State.
Authorities say the 2 suspects, Sajid and Navita Kram, were inspired by ISIS, that explosive devices were found in their car along with ISIS flags, and they had recently traveled to the Philippines. The terror attack comes after a growing series of disturbing anti-Semitic incidents in Australia, including a synagogue firebombed. This woman and her son survived Sunday's attack.
Since the 7th of October and with all the anti-Semitism happening around the world, everyone thought it was only a matter of time.
In New York, a federal investigation has been launched over this video showing a Jewish man assaulted on the subway. Mayor Eric Adams calling it a despicable act of hateful violence.
And our thanks to Sarah James for that report. This morning, funerals were held for 2 rabbis who were killed in the attack.
Well, this morning, a Dutch Pilots Association is demanding immediate action in the Caribbean after 2 reported instances of U.S. military jets flying very close to commercial or private planes near the Dutch island of Curacao. In each case, the military plane was reportedly not transmitting its precise location, so other pilots and controllers could see it. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello covers aviation and gives us the details.
It happened over the Caribbean at 38,000 feet.
Unidentified traffic, 12 o'clock, closing 10 miles. Level not known.
Air traffic control on the Dutch island of Curacao notified a private U.S. business jet headed to Fort Lauderdale of an aircraft in the same airspace. Seconds later, the business jet reported a close call.
We got that traffic. I don't know how we didn't get an RA for that, but they were really close.
An RA is a resolution advisory, an automated cockpit warning to take evasive action to avoid a collision. But it only works if the other plane is broadcasting its position.
He was big, maybe like a 777, 76, something like that. It was a wide body.
The Pentagon tells NBC News it's investigating. It happened on Saturday, just a day after a JetBlue pilot reported his own close call last Friday.
We almost had a mid-air collision up here.
JetBlue flight 1112, leaving Curacao for New York, reported a close call with a U.S. military tanker flying without its transponder on.
It was an air-to-air refueler from the United States Air Force, and he was at our altitude. We had to stop our climb.
Both incidents come as the U.S. has increased military operations off Venezuela. The FAA recently warned pilots to exercise caution at all altitudes due to the worsening security situation and heightened military activity.
They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous.
On Friday, the controller reported he couldn't see the military plane either. JetBlue tells NBC News it reported this incident to the federal authorities and will participate in any investigation. The military says it's working to assess the facts surrounding the situation. Military aircraft turn off their transponders when they don't want to be identified by adversaries, especially in conflict zones. But it comes nearly a year after the fatal crash in Washington when a military chopper flying without transmitting its precise location crashed into a passenger jet. Now 2 reported close calls over the Caribbean.
We got that traffic. I don't know how we didn't get an RA for that, but they were really close. They don't have their transponder turned on. It's outrageous.
As the U.S. ramps up military flights off Venezuela. The Curacao Civil Aviation Authority has warned airlines about unidentified aircraft in the airspace. And now the Dutch Pilots Association is calling for changes. They want clear military flight corridors separating civilian traffic and military traffic, and then mandatory use of transponders for tracking military flights. Back to you.
Tom, thank you very much. Coming up, eating healthy during the holidays. It can seem impossible this time of year, even more difficult to get your kids to do it.
Or your adults. We'll get you some tips before you head to your next Christmas party. Dr. Patel joins us with our weekly checkup. That is next on Morning News Now.
Welcome back. Yesterday in Los Angeles, a second doctor was sentenced in connection with the overdose death of Matthew Perry. NBC News correspondent Camila Bernal reports.
Accountability for another former doctor charged after the death of beloved Friends actor Matthew Perry.
My heart goes out to the Perry family.
Former California Dr. Mark Chavez sentenced to 8 months of home detention and 3 years of supervised release. Last year, he pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiring to distribute ketamine to Perry, who was found dead from an accidental overdose in 2023. Chavez admitted to selling ketamine from his former clinic to another doctor, Salvador Plasencia, who supplied large amounts of the drug to Perry in the weeks leading up to his overdose. And while the judge acknowledged that the 2 former doctors did not provide the dose that killed Perry, she said the pair helped Mr. Perry stay on the road of addiction that ultimately killed him. 2 weeks ago, Plasencia was sentenced to 2.5 years for his involvement in the case. During his hearing, he faced the family and apologized.
Each doctor had differing degrees of culpability, but make no mistake about it. The defendant who rushes to the courthouse to plead guilty early and cooperate against other defendants can expect to get the lightest sentence.
In court documents, Chavez's defense team saying he went from a practicing emergency room physician to an Uber driver after facing charges.
Mr. Chavez has lost his career, his livelihood, and professional identity that he has worked decades to develop. Those losses are real, and they will follow him for the rest of his life.
Perry's family was not in court Tuesday, but during Plasencia's hearing, they pointed to the oath doctors take to protect. And instead, these former doctors knew he was suffering and failed to help.
On the one hand, being a doctor means you've led a career of helping others. But on the other hand, it means that you're somebody who has the training and knowledge to know better than to deal drugs.
Our thanks to Camila Bernal for that report. There are 3 more people who are still facing sentencing for their role in Matthew Perry's death. That is expected to happen early next year.
Time now for our weekly medical checkup. This morning, we're looking at something that may sound like a paradox this time of year: healthy eating ahead of the holidays.
Yeah, it can be tough. Plus, how social interaction can protect your health.
Here to help us break down these health headlines, NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, always good to have you with us. So before we get to those stories, let's talk about COVID vaccines for pregnant women. If you've been on a plane or inside a theater recently, you know we're in the middle of respiratory virus season. That includes COVID. And now we've got this study which found pregnant women who got the COVID vaccine are at significantly lower risk of being hospitalized or even delivering their babies prematurely. So tell us, what did this study find? And we should remind folks they can still get vaccinated this season, right?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So this was an important study because it was 20,000 pregnant patients that had confirmed COVID-19 infections that were included in the study during the Delta and Omicron peaks. So this was, if you remember, those peak seasons when we were seeing so many cases. 7 in 10 of these women had received at least 1 COVID vaccine before they became infected. So they were deemed vaccinated. And amongst those who were vaccinated, 1 in 5 got at least a dose during pregnancy. To your point, it's never too late. Vaccinated pregnant patients had a 60% lower risk of being hospitalized for COVID compared to those who are not vaccinated. And the risk of needing ICU level care was also reduced by about 90% in vaccinated pregnant women. And then perinatal outcomes, and actually the outcomes for birth, which is what many moms care about. Vaccination during or before pregnancy was linked in all cases to lower risk of preterm birth. And then across those 20,000 pregnancies, vaccines were not associated with any safety risk. So the doctor's orders, very simple: get vaxxed. It's not too late.
Dr. Patel, another one here. This survey found parents find it difficult to talk to their kids about eating healthy. I think that's understandable. I think a lot of parents just want their kids to eat at all. Maybe that's going to be mac and cheese most of the time. But of course, that's also tough for us as adults. At holiday gatherings, they revolve around food. For adults, they revolve around drinks. How can parents keep this in mind? What can we do?
Yeah, University of Michigan did this study, 970 parents of teens, ages 13 to 17. And I think the lessons, as you mentioned, Savannah, actually do apply to all ages. But what's really troubling is about half of those parents felt like their kids were overweight. They also felt like 1 in 3 of these parents wanted to try to talk to their children about eating habits, but only gave vague advice, like just try to eat better. And I've found myself even doing this, just try to make better decisions. Instead, I think what the study found is that what we should be trying to do is actually just modeling the behavior and having very frank conversations. By the way, there were parents that also felt their kids were underweight. So it goes both ways, which is why it's really just about making sure you have a full plate with a lot of healthy options. That can be hard to do when you're invited to holiday party number 5. You've got cookies and cake. but you modeling that can go a long way for the family. So the doctor's orders here are stock healthy options so that you can kind of eat before you go to the party. And that way you actually don't feel like you can make some of those bad choices and make more healthy ones, along with a couple of treats when you need it.
We should quickly cover one more that is about the holidays. Connection is so important, and 2 new studies found the strong social connections actually protect physical health, our heart and our brain as we age. Tell us more.
All right, I'll wrap this up. 2 studies. The first one showed relationship qualities between couples, that the higher the relationship quality, the better that the couple did in cardiac outcomes. It's kind of hard to imagine, but it does show that there's something about relationships and heart health that are intrinsically linked. A second study that was over 30,000 aging adults actually looked at cognitive decline and quality of their social relationships or social isolation. Here it was pretty stark, Joe. If you were socially isolated, you had a more accelerated cognitive decline. If you reported having really robust friendships, not about the quantity, it's about the quality, then you actually had a deceleration of that cognitive decline. The doctor's orders here are simple, but also kind of hard to do. We've talked about isolation before. Involve your partner in your recovery. That's the heart health study. And then make plans and reach out. A text a day. Send a text today, or pick up the phone and make a phone call to someone you've been thinking about, just hadn't had the time to do. That's a connection.
Yeah, even if you can do it once a week, once a month, anything
That's
like
right.
that. That's what the experts say. All right, Dr. Patel, good to have you with us. Thank you. Coming up, we got a plot twist. We're following breaking news this morning in the bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery. We'll bring you an update from the company.
And a mid-career shift. More people already in the workforce now choosing to go back to school. We'll explain why and what it could mean for the job market. Stay with us. You're watching Morning News Now. We are back with a new trend happening in the U.S. job market. More middle-aged and mid-career adults are enrolling in college.
Take a look at this number from the National Center for Education Statistics. More than 1 million people in their 40s are enrolled in undergraduate or graduate programs. Many of them say they want to make a career change for better benefits, better job security, and the chance to make more money.
For more, let's bring in Claire Ansberry. She's the columnist for the Wall Street Journal who recently did some reporting on this trend. Claire, good morning. So interesting. I know you spoke to several adults in their 40s, even older than that, who went back to school to make these career changes. Some of them were actually even enrolling for the first time after skipping college in their early adult life. We mentioned pay and job security, but what are some of the other reasons that they're pursuing degrees?
You know, right now they're really seeing a spike in layoffs, and so they're feeling vulnerable. They know how much AI is changing the world and their profession, and so they have to, step up on those skills or maybe even change their whole career. And they want to stand out among their peers, and some of them have also hit the ceiling, and they realize that they've gone as far as they can go with their degrees. And if they want to go any further and get a better pay and more job security, they have to get more education.
And some adults are opting for trade school or apprenticeship programs instead of traditional 4-year degree programs, probably because they don't want to pay student loans till they're 60 years old. But what are some of the popular industries when it comes to those types of programs?
Yeah, and the skilled trades, I mean, that is a profession or an area where it's less vulnerable to automation and AI. You're always going to need a plumber, but along with plumbing, there's carpentry, there's electrical work. Construction's big because all these data centers that are being built and people need to learn how to lay fiber optic cable. Healthcare is huge. Our population's aging. We need more long-term care, in-home, medical services, all of that sort of healthcare. Digital media is big, and AI and technology. As much as AI is changing and making some professions more vulnerable in jobs, it's creating a lot of activity and a lot of work for other places.
What's the biggest challenge most people face when going to college or trade school later in their adult life? Do they ultimately think that it's worth it?
Yeah, well, the challenge is a lot of people have kids, and these kids are young, and kids are active, and they're involved in sports and music. So, they're missing out on a lot of things, or they have to juggle. A lot of them are still working full time. They find themselves writing their papers at 3 a.m, and they're missing things and skipping things. But at the same time, and the other thing about this age group is their peers are beginning to hit stride, and they're saving for the retirement, and they're kind of missing out on that or feel like they're not doing it. They're taking out loans, student loans on top of mortgages. But ultimately, I think they feel it's worth it because, people are living longer and they're working longer. So, they're not retiring at 65. So they're a good investment and they feel like they can recoup that investment.
At the same time, we've got young people starting to question if getting a college degree is worthwhile. We only have a few seconds here, but what's influencing this gap we're seeing in perspectives?
I think they know what they don't know, and they know what they like. They know what they're good at. Some of the jobs that they've been doing have just become too hard, like cooking. And some of them just really want to learn more and engage their mind more and change their whole profession. I talked to a teacher who decided she was done with teaching and she wanted to go into healthcare.
Claire Ansberry, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Really interesting conversation.
All right, let's get to some breaking money news this morning. Warner Brothers Discovery officially squeezing Paramount out of its expensive buyout race.
NBC News business and economy reporter Emily Lorsch joins us on this breaking news in our Money Minute. Hey, Emily, good morning.
Hey, guys, good morning. That's right. This is breaking news. We just learned that Warner Brothers Discovery is recommending its shareholders reject Paramount's hostile takeover bid. WBD is arguing that its plan to sell most of the media company to Netflix is a better move for its shareholders. Netflix also speaking out, welcoming this decision, saying this deal is a, quote, superior alternative for WBD stockholders. And DoorDash is testing a new way to find your next favorite meal, launching an AI-powered social app called Zesty. The app lets users ask a chatbot for personalized restaurant recommendations based on sources including Google ratings, likes on TikTok videos, and mentions on Reddit. And it also allows people to share photos and thoughts on restaurants. It's currently in public testing in San Francisco and New York. Finally, history just made a profit. America's final circulating pennies shattered records at auction, selling for nearly $17 million on behalf of the United States Mint. The sale follows President Trump's order to halt penny production as a cost-cutting move, ending 232 years of circulation. So it seems the humble penny is shifting from pocket to change to a prized collectible now, guys. But here, this, Warner Brothers Discovery news, this is big. This just came in, and, it seems that Netflix is excited to move forward.
Still be a long process ahead, but at least one of these questions appears to be answered. All right. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you. Coming up on Morning News Now, he is going for gold again.
Whatever happens, happens. I'm very proud of what I've done, and, if I come out with a medal, that's the goal.
Up next, we're going to introduce you to an Olympian set to take part in his 4th Winter Games. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Let's end the hour with the story of an Olympian who's hoping to compete in his 4th Games next year, but in a sport that you might not have heard of.
Yeah, Tucker West has had a long-time passion for the luge. It's like sledding with the athletes on their backs, racing down an icy track, feet first. And his reporter Eli Rosenberg from our affiliate in Boston reports it all started when West was a child.
Growing up, Tucker West was that kid. The one with a full luge track set up in his Connecticut backyard.
The story starts back in 2002. My dad and I were watching the Olympics. The games were in Salt Lake, and luge came on the TV. For whatever reason, I thought it was a really cool sport.
And when icing down the backyard hill proved not to be fast enough, West and his dad built this luge track out of wood. The track, as you would expect, proved to be quite popular. The story even reaching USA Luge, which came over, saw it, invited West to compete for a junior development team.
I tried it and absolutely fell in love with it more than I already had in my backyard.
From there, the kid who loves speed was literally off to the races. Development League by 12.
Tucker West!
In 2011, the youngest to ever win a world championship. Senior team at 18. And then West qualified for his first Olympics in 2014. 12 years since watching luge with his dad for the very first time.
It's a very unforgiving sport, and you're always in the pursuit of perfection, but it's fun. I love it. Every one of those seconds count. You make the wrong steer, or you shift your weight in just the wrong way. You could hit a wall, skid, and your whole race is over.
So now West is preparing for his 4th Olympics. He knows what to expect, sort of, as he looks to build on where he has fallen short.
I kind of learned what failure meant in that, and how the stress and pressure got to me. It'll be a new race for me, a new track. So I'll have to keep my head down, stay focused, and learn this track quickly.
This Olympic push does come with some finality. Milan Cortina could be it. West has a degree in business and has spent time of late picturing a life after luge. Making money, starting a family. From backyard luge to one final push in the sport's biggest stage. The boy from Connecticut who had a dream and then lived it.
Hoping to build on all of these experiences and come out successful in these final games. Whatever happens, happens. I'm very proud of what I've done, and if I come out with a medal, that's the goal. But if I don't, so be it.
Of the backyard luge setup from a young age. Yeah. It's incredible. Thanks to Eli Rosenberg for that report. And of course, you can watch the luge and all the other Winter Olympic events on NBC and on Peacock.
I was with Tucker in his second Olympics in South Korea. Got to meet him, got to meet his family.
Awesome.
So to see him trying to get number 4, that's awesome. We wish him
incredible
the best. It's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now. Good morning. Thank you for being with us this Wednesday. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, official charges. Nick Reiner, son of Hollywood legend Rob Reiner and wife Michele, now formally accused of their murders. What comes next? And the newly obtained surveillance footage giving us a glimpse of the moments before the 32-year-old was arrested by police. An urgent search for the gunman in Brown University shooting continues this morning. Police in Rhode Island releasing new images of a person of interest following the deadly attack on Saturday that left 2 students dead. And across the globe, the surviving suspect in that Bondi Beach massacre slapped with a slew of charges, including terrorism and 15 counts of murder. We are covering it all in just a moment. New this morning, a massive text scam crackdown from one tech titan targeting a Chinese cyber criminal group that it says is behind those fake Easy Pass and Postal Service messages flooding our phones lately. And attention, holiday shoppers, we are now just 8 days away from Christmas, so it is crunch time for those last-minute buys and, of course, those delivery deadlines. So how can you make sure all of your gifts arrive right on time for the big day? Plus, if you're still looking for that perfect gift this season, you're cutting it close, but never fear. We've got you covered.
Oh, we still have a week.
A week is plenty of time.
Plenty.
Unless you need to ship it, then you really need to get going.
That's true.
All right, let's begin this hour with the latest on the murder of Hollywood filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife Michele, who were found dead in their LA home on Sunday. The couple's son Nick has now officially been charged with their murders and is being held without bail.
This morning, we have new details about his arrest outside of a Los Angeles convenience store, including this newly obtained video on your screen right now. This is as Nick Reiner is scheduled to make his first appearance in a Los Angeles courtroom after hiring high-profile attorney Alan Jackson. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky is at the Hall of Justice in L.A. with more. Morgan, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. We're just hours away now from the arraignment for Nick Reiner following the formal charges in his parents' murders. And today, for the first time, we are getting a closer look, some new video as to where Reiner was, what he was doing in those hours following the horrific discovery of his parents' bodies.
This morning, Nick Reiner has been officially charged with the murder of his parents, Hollywood legend Rob Reiner and his wife Michele. The charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without parole or the death penalty. This newly obtained surveillance footage, verified by NBC News, shows Nick Reiner walking into a gas station and buying a drink. Moments later, police arrested him in downtown L.A., just hours after his parents' bodies were found in the bedroom of their Brentwood home. These images, posted by the LAPD Gang and Narcotics Unit and later deleted, show his arrest and include a photo of Reiner in handcuffs.
He was approached by the officers and he was arrested without incident.
Reiner remains in jail without bail and is set to be arraigned this morning.
The 32-year-old now represented by noted defense attorney Alan Jackson, whose past high-profile clients include Karen Reed, Harvey Weinstein, and Kevin Spacey.
The stage already being set for a potentially high-profile and emotional trial.
Prosecuting these cases involving family members are some of the most challenging and most heart-wrenching cases that this office faces.
Now, newly resurfaced interviews are providing a glimpse at the complicated relationship between Nick Reiner and his parents.
Well, I think I'm lucky in the sense that I have parents that care about me
Appearing on a podcast several years ago, Nick, who had a history of substance abuse, described trashing his parents' guest house while on drugs.
I got totally spun out on uppers, and I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house.
Tuesday evening, friends of Rob and Michele Reiner, including Billy Crystal, Albert Brooks, and Larry David, released a collective statement that read in part, "They were a special force together. Dynamic, unselfish, and inspiring. We were their friends, and we will miss them forever."
Now, as for the charges Nick Reiner is currently facing, we know that they carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or even potentially the death penalty. But the district attorney making it very clear that that decision has yet to be made. In the meantime, Reiner's defense attorney saying yesterday that he could have been in court, but he had yet to pass a standard medical screening, which is protocol before any inmate can be released. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Morgan, thank you.
Authorities in Rhode Island are facing growing pressure from the Providence community to find and arrest the gunman who killed 2 students, injuring 9 others at Brown University.
New enhanced video, these were released to the public yesterday, show a person of interest wearing a black mask and dark clothing near the Ivy League campus on the day of the shooting. Authorities are offering a cash reward for any information on this individual.
NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin joins us now from Providence with the latest. So, Aaron, good morning. What are authorities learning from these new images, and just where does the investigation stand right now?
Well, Joe, we are getting a clear picture of the movements of this so-called person of interest in the hours prior to the attack. Authorities say they believe he may have been in the area as early as 10:30 in the morning, although this clip that was stitched together and released by the FBI begins at 2 p.m., 2 hours prior to the attack. You see him about a block away from campus. At one point in the videos, he's running. In some of the videos, he's carrying a black bag. He doesn't appear to have a black bag. In other videos, you see him about an hour prior to the attack walk past the building where the shooting took place, but you never see him in the footage actually enter the building. And then shortly after the attack took place, you see him walking away from campus. So still a lot of questions outstanding. They still do not have an identification of this individual. The Attorney General making it clear that once they get that identification, it'll be very easy to find him. Joe.
Aaron, the university is facing some criticism over the lack of security and cameras on campus. I mean, to that point, for a while, we only had really just few images, a little bit of video until it was the public with these Ring cameras and such that we got more. President Trump said in a Truth Social post overnight, there can be no excuse for so few security cameras. How is the school responding to some of this criticism?
Yeah, well, the Attorney General in yesterday's press conference, Savannah, talked a bit about that. This is a building that has been modified. He made it clear that in the newer portion of the building, there are cameras in place. They do have footage showing students running away from the attack. But the attack actually happened in the older part of the building where they do not seem to have as many cameras, which is why the Attorney General said they do not have the gunman on camera carrying out the attack itself, which raises the question, did the gunman know there were no cameras in the older part of the building? Did he know how to evade cameras surrounding the building before he went in and went out? Also questions about the security of the building itself. Speaking to many students here at Brown, they told me it was very easy for literally anyone to enter the building. In fact, I spoke to a student who told me she was on the 3rd floor yesterday. She said she didn't use her swipe card to get into the building that day. All of that raising questions and putting pressure on the university about their security arrangements. The president of Brown in that press conference speaking to that pressure yesterday, saying that she was saddened to see people question her commitment, the school's commitment to the safety of students.
And Aaron, we have to remember, as the investigation continues, the community is mourning the loss of 2 students, also grappling with the knowledge that the killer is still on the loose. Just what is the general feeling in Providence right now, and what help is available for students and faculty on campus?
Well, this appears at this point, Joe, to be a ghost town. Most of the students, most of the faculty have gone home. Once they lifted that lockdown, we watched as student after student pack their bags and went home for the holidays. That in and of itself has compounded this investigation, and now authorities are circling back and asking anyone, regardless of where they are at this point, who was in that building behind me, either on Friday, the Friday before, or the Saturday, to come forward to be interviewed. I was speaking to one student who said he was in the adjacent classroom when it happened. He was there watching a football game with students. Keep in mind, this is a very popular building, especially on the weekends. There were lots of students inside the building. He said that he heard shots fired in the chaos, and he has reached out to authorities to give them that account. Joe.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much.
For more on this, let's bring in Jonathan Collins. He is an assistant professor of political science and education at Columbia University, but is also a former Brown University faculty member. John, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, just first, of course, this is heartbreaking, but wondering from your personal perspective, having spent time there and worked there for several years, what was your initial reaction to the news of the shooting on the Brown campus over the weekend?
Well, utter and complete shock. You know, I spent 6 years on Brown University's campus. I started as a postdoctoral fellow and then transitioned into a tenure track assistant professor role. And I loved my time there at the university. I felt completely safe every single day that I showed up to work. And, you know, the students there are incredibly bright. They're brilliant. They're very hardworking. And Brown was the kind of place, not only was it safe in the sense of, you know, violence or nonviolence, but it's the kind of place where if you left, you know, your laptop or a valuable item in a classroom, you could come back days later and it would still be right where you left it. I mean, this was the epitome of a safe campus community.
You say you felt safe. How do you think the ongoing manhunt is affecting how students feel? Obviously, many have left and returned home right now, but will continue to affect how they feel on the campus moving forward.
Well, Joe, this has to completely rock the student body. I mean, we've never seen this kind of violence and disruption take place on the campus before, even in the state of Rhode Island. You're talking about a place that has only had one shooting since 2021. And even going back to 2013, I'm sorry, there have only been, you know, 3 shootings, which 3 shootings is a lot, but Rhode Island still ranks at the bottom of the country in terms of shootings that are taking place. So the idea of something like this happening at Brown was unfathomable. And so the student body, the Brown community has to be just completely shaken and distraught right now.
In the wake of this shooting, we have since learned that 2 students at Brown had survived school shootings in the past, one in California, the other in Parkland, Florida. Viewers probably remember 17 students were killed there in 2018. What responsibility do you think schools and universities, like what role should they play when it comes to advocating and the conversation around gun reform because of what can happen to students on campuses?
Well, I think it's up to colleges and universities to understand that this is one of the most critical problems of our time, and we need to approach it as such. We need more cutting edge research that tells us everything from the sort of neuropsych evaluations of folks who are committing these mass shootings. We need more technology developments that can help ensure that there's safety in the event of another mass shooting. We need, you know, policy researchers who are thinking about putting together more cutting edge reforms, more common sense reforms, not just at state levels, but federally. And I think all these things start in university classrooms. Now, the thing about Brown University is, you know, these students are special. They're some of the hardest working students I've ever encountered. And I think we're going to look back on this moment and say, this was the beginning of a seismic change in the way in which we address gun violence in the United States.
Jonathan, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
President Trump is expected to tout his accomplishments in an address to the nation later tonight. And his speech comes as the Trump administration scrambles to downplay a set of deeply candid Vanity Fair interviews with White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Hake joins us with the latest. Garrett, good morning.
Joe, but wait, there's more. The president also making a blockade announcement last night, which comes after weeks of strikes against alleged Venezuelan drug smuggling boats that have killed nearly 100 people, and persistent claims from the president that he intends to strike targets on land, too. That announcement drawing some focus away, at least temporarily, from that series of interviews that consumed the White House yesterday with the famously tight-lipped chief of staff, Susie Wiles, speaking bluntly and candidly about the president and his inner circle.
This morning, President Trump preparing for a primetime address to the nation as he ratchets up his pressure campaign against Venezuela's authoritarian regime. In a post overnight, the president announcing a, quote, total and complete blockade on all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. The move, meant to squeeze Venezuela's economy, comes less than a week after the U.S. seized a sanctioned oil tanker off the Venezuelan coast. Last night, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro condemning what he called piracy by the U.S.
No blood for oil. No war for oil.
It comes after a remarkably candid series of 11 interviews with Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, published in Vanity Fair. On the president's plans for Venezuela, Wiles saying, quote, he wants to keep on blowing up boats until Maduro cries uncle.
How good is Susie, the ice maiden?
Wiles, a trusted advisor, notably describing Trump, who does not drink, as having a, quote, alcoholic's personality, adding he operates with a view that there's nothing he can't do. President Trump saying he agrees with her, telling the New York Post he has a, quote, possessive and addictive type personality. In the interviews, recorded over an 11-month period, Wiles also suggested former Trump critic J.D. Vance's conversion to Trump diehard was, quote, sort of political, and that Vance had been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. Vance brushing it off.
I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true.
Wiles also quoted saying Attorney General Pam Bondi whiffed on her handling of the Epstein files. Wiles calling the story a, quote, disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history. The Vanity Fair writer defending his reporting overnight.
All of it taped, all of it on the record. And the giveaway is that they haven't been able to challenge a single fact.
Attorney General Pam Bondi was one of a host of administration and officials to respond to the interview online, defending Wiles as a, quote, dear friend. And one other note from these interviews, Wiles also attempted to put to bed the idea that President Trump would attempt to run for a third term, saying he's conceded several times to her that he can't do it constitutionally and that he won't, but that he enjoys keeping the rumors alive. Joe?
All right. Thank you so much, Garrett.
On Capitol Hill, the House is set to vote on a health care bill later today that could affect premiums for millions of Americans. The vote is a last-ditch effort by congressional Republicans to pass a plan to reduce the cost of health care before subsidies tied to the Affordable Care Act expire at the end of the year. Now, millions of Americans could see a steep jump in the cost of their premiums if a plan does not pass in time. NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles joins us from Washington with what to expect. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning. And there really is little hope that this Hail Mary plan by House Republicans will pass in time to have a meaningful impact on the cost of health care for the 22 million Americans who benefit from these Affordable Care Act subsidies. As it stands right now, those benefits will evaporate on December 31st. The clock is ticking, and frustrations are growing as a healthcare squeeze is taking its grip on Capitol Hill.
I am pissed for the American people. This is absolute bull.
COVID-era premium subsidies tied to the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, are set to expire at the end of the year. The political stalemate over those subsidies triggered the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, lasting 43 days. Those subsidies provide relief on premium costs for more than 20 million Americans, like Becky Roberts, who is set to see her costs skyrocket. Becky Roberts was born with a dislocated hip. Her health care has helped her work despite the challenges. If the subsidies lapse, she's looking at a 110% increase in her premium costs, more than $300 a month. Do you feel sometimes like you're a political pawn?
I feel, mostly that people aren't taking it seriously.
Republicans argue the subsidies were designed to expire.
The roots of Obamacare, the Unaffordable Care Act, have gotten so deep in the system that it's no longer possible to just pull it out at the root and chop it off and start over.
But even if reform is needed, it likely won't come quickly enough for people like Becky. And Democrats argue an extension is necessary to prevent people from falling through the cracks.
We want to avoid these increases that the American people are facing at the hands of Republican inaction.
The only option right now to extend these subsidies before the end of the year would be for moderate Republicans to join with Democrats to force a vote on the floor by going around Speaker Johnson. But even if they did that, it would still need to pass the Senate, and Majority Leader Thune has said it is unlikely this issue will be dealt with until January. Savannah?
Brian, thank you so much.
Heavy rain and snow are expected in the Pacific Northwest, where they're bracing for the potential for flooding and strong winds.
For the latest on that, let's bring in Angie Lastman. She's in studio with us. Angie, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Unfortunately, no break for our friends across the Pacific Northwest. We're gearing up for another atmospheric river event, and we've got ongoing rain and snow already this morning. You see these flood watches in effect across this region. These are going to stay with us essentially through the end of the work week into the early parts of Saturday, as we once again kind of see another batch of some really heavy moisture kind of going to work in. Here's what we've got right now, though. We've got a northwest storm that's going to work really quickly to the east. This kind of sits across parts of the northern plains through the day today, ramps up the rain chances, of course, increases the winds. I'll show you those here in a moment. They're pretty impressive. And then we'll get some additional mountain snow. By the time we get into tomorrow, you can see across the Great Lakes, stretching down the Ohio Valley and down across the south, we're going to see some of this additional rain. And we've got some kind of snow and wind across parts of the upper Midwest. Not great for travel. That goes for Friday as well, as this kind of slides offshore. It'll still leave us with some heavy rain and the potential for some additional snowfall downwind of the lake. So this is going to cause some travel trouble for us over the next couple of days. But let's focus on the West Coast, specifically where we've got that flash flood risk yet again. Anywhere from Portland, stretching down through Eugene and down through Crescent City. Some of the heaviest rain that we're going to see from this next atmospheric river event happening tomorrow and lasting into the end of the work week is going to be focused a little farther to the south. So we'll pick up some additional moisture, and notice we've got some higher amounts across parts of Oregon and Northern California. Anywhere from 2 to upwards of 8 inches is going to be possible from this event. So no surprise that we are once again concerned with the really saturated soils, all that rain that we've received in a short period of time for additional levee issues across this same region. So we'll be watching this through the extended period. Now, big picture look for your wind alerts. Boy, we've got a lot of them. 30 million folks under these wind alerts at this time. They stretch from the West Coast all the way to the Midwest. And we're going to see these winds really get ramped up here in a short period of time. This is through Thursday. Those peak wind gusts across parts of the plains, 60 miles per hour. 61 in Bismarck. We've got 40s for Minneapolis. So down trees, down power lines, issues with travel, all of that is on the table. And I think across the mountainous regions, upwards of maybe 70, 80, up to 90 mile per hour winds will be possible the higher up you go in elevation. So something to note all the way through the end of the work week. That'll begin here as we get through the later parts of today. And then, guys, no temperatures that look like it's winter, do it?
Spring.
Does it? Spring instead, upper 60s. This is going to be kind of a period of really warm conditions, and we'll see basically 3/4 of the country running above normal. So I know that's not what you want to hear leading into Christmas or the holiday week, but yeah, I see Savannah's face says it all. She's like, "Where's the snow now?
Yes.
I need the snow
We had
today."
that one gorgeous day over the weekend. But
Yep,
need
you
more.
got one.
I know.
Listen, beggars can't be choosers.
Don't complain to me. Thanks, Angie.
You got it.
There's much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including how Google is taking on those pesky text message scams that have been flooding our phones for months.
First, after the break, no jail time for one of the doctors charged in connection with the death of Friends star Matthew Perry. More on his new sentence next.
One of the people charged in connection with the death of Friends star Matthew Perry has been sentenced after pleading guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine. However, Dr. Mark Chavez will not serve any prison time. NBC News correspondent Camila Bernal is in Los Angeles with the latest. Camila, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning. So this is the second doctor to be sentenced, and of the two, he received a much lighter sentence. Prosecutors said he benefited from cooperating with investigators very early on.
Mark Chavez, the second of 2 doctors charged with supplying ketamine to the late actor Matthew Perry, is beginning home confinement this morning. Chavez, who pled guilty last year to 1 count of conspiracy to distribute ketamine, was sentenced by a judge on Tuesday to 3 years of supervised release, including 8 months of home confinement. Afterwards, Chavez speaking out.
My heart goes out to the Perry family.
His sentence comes 2 weeks after Dr. Salvador Plasencia was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Prosecutors say the two worked together to supply Perry with doses of the powerful anesthetic. In previously released text messages between the men, Plasencia wrote to Chavez, "I wonder how much this moron will pay, and let's find out." The TV star was found dead of an accidental overdose in a hot tub at his Los Angeles home in October of 2023. Chavez's lawyer says his client had no personal contact with the actor and called his sentence fair.
The reason they recommended no time in custody is because Mark, unlike Mr. Plasencia, accepted responsibility early.
3 others have pleaded guilty to a variety of drug-related crimes and are awaiting sentencing, including the woman known as the ketamine queen.
Checking out the chin-chin.
Perry, the beloved star of the hit sitcom Friends, had spoken openly about his substance abuse issues over the years. His family opening up to Savannah about the investigation.
What do you think about the fact that there has been some accountability there?
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled.
What I'm hoping that people who have put themselves in the business of supplying people with the drugs that will kill them, that they are now on notice.
And it's very important to note here that authorities say the drugs that the 2 doctors supplied Perry were not the ones that caused his death. According to prosecutors, those came from the so-called ketamine queen. She, along with the person prosecutors called the middleman and Perry's former personal assistant, are all expected to be sentenced early next year. Savannah?
All right, Camila, thank you.
In another high-profile case, Luigi Mangione was back in court yesterday. His defense team is working to get certain pieces of evidence thrown out when Mangione faces a jury for the shooting death of healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Erica Byfield from NBC New York has the latest.
A hearing about evidence in Luigi Mangione's case stretched into a 3rd week, accused of murder. His defense team wants New York judge to toss out the loaded handgun that Pennsylvania police found. Mangione, in a suit, took notes as the proceeding unfolded. On Tuesday, the evidence officer from the Altoona Police Department was on the stand. Do Altoona officers have discretion on what to search, or if you go through pockets? No, we search everything, including pockets. The judge heard the officers found so much clothes and other belongings that they did something they normally don't do. They sorted through it all in the roll call room, adding that they followed Altoona policies. Later on cross, the defense pulled up the policy. It says that searches shall be done in the intake area. Mangione's attorney then asks, it doesn't say except when there's not enough room. The officer responded, yes. A central issue, a Pennsylvania law that allows officers to search without a search warrant. Shown in court, the evidence log includes items that Altoona police dug up, like surveillance of Mangione shopping at CVS and using a laptop at a Best Buy. He got arrested 5 days after someone gunned down Brian Thompson. The CEO of United Healthcare was murdered outside the Midtown Hilton Hotel. His death led to a nationwide manhunt until a 911 call.
And our thanks to Erica Byfield from NBC New York for that report.
Well, in Australia, a suspect has been charged in that deadly anti-Semitic mass shooting at Sydney's iconic Bondi Beach.
NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavanga joins us now to take us around the world in 60 seconds. Claudio, good morning.
Joseph, and good morning. Well, that's right. Australian police on Wednesday said that Naveed Akram, the 24-year-old, one of the 2 attackers who is still alive, was charged with 59 offenses, including 15 counts of murder and 40 counts of causing bodily harm with the intent of murder. Now, the police also said early indications point to a terrorist attack inspired by ISIS. The 24-year-old awoke from a coma on Tuesday after being shot by police and remains in a hospital in Sydney under police guard, while the second gunman, his father, was shot dead by police at the scene on Sunday. Let's go to Mexico City now, where a video from the Chamber of Congress shows legislators shoving, yelling, and pulling each other's hair on the podium. The dispute and the fight erupted during a discussion of a proposal to replace the city's transparency agency with a new oversight body. In the video, a man is seen intervening to prevent, well, a hairy situation from escalating. Let's end this tour of the world back here in Italy, where it was announced that Mariah Carey will perform during the Olympic opening ceremony in Milan on February the 6th. Mariah will continue the tradition of superstars performing at the Olympics after Lady Gaga and Celine Dion dazzled the athletes and the crowds at last year's opening ceremony in Paris. On Instagram, Mariah confirmed her attendance by saying, "Ci vediamo a Milano," in a pretty good Italian, I might say. Well, that means, of course, see you in Milan, guys.
I'm guessing she won't be performing All I Want for Christmas.
I know. That's, yeah.
That would be too early.
No. All I want is gold.
Yeah.
Thanks, Claudio.
Coming up, it is officially crunch time for all you holiday shoppers out there.
After the break, we've got your full rundown of all the shipping deadlines you got to know about if you want to make sure your gifts make it under the tree in a little over a week. Stick around, that's next.
Back now with some important deadlines you need to know with the holiday shopping crunch in full swing.
Christmas is now just over a week away, and while Santa gets his sleigh ready up at the North Pole, it means it's time for us to put in those online gift orders down here to make sure all our packages arrive on time.
I need to get a sleigh. All right, Chief Consumer Investigative Correspondent News Now anchor Vicki Nguyen is here with all the deadlines you need to know. Asking for a friend, say you need to mail some stuff halfway across the country.
You do need a sleigh. You're quite a good gift giver for the people who don't know. But I will say today is your absolute deadline for the cheapest ground shipping. That's through USPS and FedEx ground. The next deadline I want you to pay attention to would be Friday. UPS has its 3-day select. Saturday, you can still get the packages there by Christmas using USPS Priority Express. But then when we get into the 22nd and 23rd, guys, that is when costs get exponentially more expensive. We're talking hundreds of dollars to send. Sometimes what is like of less value in the package than the amount they're going to pay for the shipping. And by the way, as great of a job as these shippers do this time of year, they cannot control Mother Nature. So the closer you get to Christmas, the more you're kind of rolling the dice.
Let's talk about big retailers. What about making sure when our gifts arrive on time if you're buying from some of them?
This is actually really good news, right? Macy's, major retailer, they've got them everywhere. If you buy a gift from Macy's now, they say standard shipping, which is free. By December 21st, we'll get your gift there by Christmas, which is really good news. Then you've got Walmart and Best Buy. They're saying the 23rd. 2 days before Christmas.
What?
But make sure it's 12:30 local time that you're putting your order in for Walmart and 10:30 local time for Best Buy. But Target and Amazon, they have the same day delivery and the next day delivery. It's all free with minimum order of $35 or $25. But you really want to check the individual items and what the shipping dates say for them, especially if you're ordering multiple things. Don't assume everything has the same delivery date. Sometimes you're like, wait a minute, that's not going to come until January 31st of 2026.
Even sometimes Amazon things, which like we're so used to Amazon being like this, it's like product dependent.
And by the way, there are mistakes that can be made. You remember, I've told you this before. One year we ordered my daughter a doll, too close to Christmas, and we got a broom. And it was not the same. Not the same. A doll is not a broom.
Broom sends a different message.
It really does.
If you give that to someone.
This Christmas is about us. Clean the house, little 2-year-old. Need you sweeping.
Although with Wicked now, that works just fine, actually. Just say you're Alphaba.
Yeah,
all right.
There you go.
If you want to save on shipping, you got some secrets?
Okay, obviously, the sooner, the cheaper. Secondly, pack your items really securely. And this time of year, nobody should be paying for boxes or packages. You have so many. Just reuse the packaging that you are getting. Make sure that you put the address on the outside, but also consider printing a second page that's got the to and from on the inside in case anything damages your package. The shipper can open it and go, oh, this is where it's supposed to go. And then finally, BOPIS, buy online, pick up in store. Listen. If you have some family in Minnesota, California, and you buy something online here, you could send them to the store there to pick it up. There's no shipping fee. It's not ideal.
For that gift.
Yeah, I got you something. Could you go stop by? But
wrap it yourself.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Exactly.
This year you could upgrade her to like a vacuum.
Yeah, that's true. That is so true. I think she would be really like
a dustbuster.
She's 9 now, so she'd really be on to me if I did that to her.
Hilarious.
Thanks,
Thank you.
All right.
All right, now for a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics. We're going to start with a major expansion of President Trump's travel ban.
NBC News legal affairs reporter Gary Grumbach joins us with more. Hey, Gary.
Hey there, Savannah and Joe. Good morning. Here's what's happening in politics now. The Trump administration this morning is continuing to tighten their immigration policies, naming 5 more countries whose citizens are blocked from visiting the United States. Residents of Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, and Syria will be turned away at our borders and ports of entry effective January 1st, adding a list of a dozen countries announced by President Trump this summer. The administration also fully restricted travel for people with Palestinian Authority-issued travel documents. As soon as this week, President Trump is expected to fast-track a reclassification of cannabis. While this won't make it legal to smoke nationwide, it will mean for the first time at the federal level, the medical benefits of marijuana will be acknowledged, and the FDA will be allowed to start studying the use of cannabis for medical purposes. Previously, cannabis was in the same drug category as heroin and LSD. And finally, bipartisanship over those annoying robocalls. Senators John Curtis and Richard Blumenthal are teaming up to sponsor the Quashing Unwanted and Interruptive Electronic Telecommunications, or QUIET Act. The legislation would require robocallers to alert consumers if AI is being used in their calls. It would also increase penalties for anyone who is using the calls to try to impersonate others. It comes as if every American is receiving around 200 automated calls and messages every year, with many targeting older populations. And that's a look at what is making news in politics this morning. Joe, Savannah, back to you.
All right, Gary, thank you. Well, let's move from annoying robocalls to cybercrime now. Google is taking legal steps to crack down on a Chinese-speaking group over a wave of scam text messages sent to Americans.
The tech giant is suing the criminal group known as Darkula. Google claims the group's responsible for a massive phishing ring impersonating organizations like the IRS and U.S. Postal Service. In its legal complaint, Google estimated that Darkula and associates have stolen nearly 900,000 credit card numbers worldwide. That includes nearly 40,000 from Americans.
NBC News reporter Kevin Collier covers cybersecurity, privacy, and technology policy for us, and he has new reporting out on this today. Kevin, good morning. This is so interesting. I think so many of us remember that one that we were all getting about the tolls that you needed to pay and things like that. Like, we were just getting these texts so much. Explain what Darkula is and what Google is saying, what it's believed to have done.
Right. So, it was that toll scam. It was mostly like March, February, but it continued for, a lot of this year. And it was, like you said, the toll scams. It was the USPS scams, a whole bunch of them. And it was always a little garbled, a little confusing. It would always contain a link. And if you click the link, it had a pretty realistic page. You can, fill it out and you can pay your tolls. You can get your package. Well, that was software created by Darkula. Usually there's a couple copycat groups, but Darkula was the big one. And Darkula wouldn't just do this directly. They created the software for wannabe scammers who couldn't necessarily program it themselves and then sold it to them. So it became this entire, largely Chinese-speaking ecosystem, cybercrime ecosystem, sending us text messages trying to scam us.
So help us understand Google's strategy here. Why is it targeting a criminal group with a civil suit, and why is it doing this now?
Right. It's kind of interesting. These guys, they're believed to be in China. At least the kind of ringleader that Google has named is a Chinese citizen. Frankly, China does a decent job of taking law enforcement action against its own citizens scamming Chinese citizens. But if it's a Chinese citizen scamming an American, they're not as quick on the draw to arrest people like this. That leads to some American institutions getting kind of creative, like this instance right here. You'll see an American tech giant, Google does this sometimes, Microsoft does this sometimes, going to court in order to kind of like seize the internet infrastructure that these scammers use, because no law enforcement agency is doing that, and it's an act of disruption, really.
Kevin, Darkula uses a signature program that is called Magic Cat, as you've reported, to send these messages. Is it true, though, that if this group is stopped by this lawsuit, another one just kind of pops up in its place? How big of a dent does this make in the overall problem?
Yeah, Google does hope that this will kind of give them power to keep knocking down similar sites over and over again from the same group. But you're right. This is not going to end scams in a really substantial way. There's going to be copycats. There's really no doubt about that.
So just what's the best advice for folks to protect themselves from these scams?
If you get a text from somebody, a text that you were not expecting from any institution, but you weren't expecting, you didn't ask for it, and it has a link, and that link takes you to a site to give your personal information, your financial information, don't do it. Don't give it. Go to the site yourself, Google the site yourself, and then see if there's something there you should do. But don't rely just on a text alert to give over stuff.
Great tips there. Really interesting stuff. Kevin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Coming up, 8 days. That's all you've got left to get those gifts wrapped and stowed under the tree.
So for all you seventh inning shoppers out there, we're going to call this the seventh inning. We've got your ultimate guide to picking out that perfect present, even if you're running a little behind schedule this year. That is next on Morning News Now. We do it every year, and yet for many of us, it never gets any easier. We are talking about gift giving. A recent survey revealed 42% of adults say giving and receiving presents is an essential part of the holiday season.
With endless options of click-to-buy gift guides that promise the perfect gift for your loved ones, it can be a challenge to figure out what that person actually wants, what the truly perfect gift would be.
Well, our next guest is here to help with that. We're joined now by Nadja Spiegelman. She is an editor of the opinion section of the New York Times. Nadja, good to have you with us. I mean, your team asked and got hundreds of ideas for what are the best gifts people have ever received. Tell us some of the coolest things you saw.
Yes, we put out a call asking specifically for the best gifts of time and attention, with the idea that a wonderful, memorable gift can cost almost nothing. I think we're all behind our computer screens being fed these gift guides that tell us to buy, 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 and that ignores that what makes a wonderful present isn't in the value of the object. It's not that the terry cloth robe is so soft or the espresso machine has all these features. Gift giving is an art form, and I feel like what really makes it memorable to someone is when they feel incredibly seen and heard. So the gifts that we got, there was, when my colleague Shoshana Schultz and I went through the 600 answers that we got, we were tagging them by like, oh, this comes up a lot. So the ones that came up the most were collections of people's recipes were really meaningful to them. It made them feel appreciated as good cooks. People loved being given Spotify playlists of what their loved ones thought they might like, and they loved being given help with their gardening. One thing that came up that seemed to really touch people was when their car was cleaned by surprise. As a native New Yorker, I don't know about cars, but apparently having a clean car is really nice. Collections of photographs, handmade cards. But then we picked out the 13 sort of most surprising, thoughtful, unique presents, and that's what we put into our list.
All right, let's hear them.
Okay, so one of them that I really loved was a woman who said that she had asked her father for this present. She'd asked him to record himself reading her favorite children's books because he was a really good storyteller, and she wanted his voice and his method of reading to be preserved for her own children so that she could play them recordings of him reading.
That's sweet.
One woman wrote in to say that her father had started this Christmas tradition where in the week leading up to Christmas, he would go to the library and choose books for his children, wrap them, and give them to his children to read in the weeks leading up. They loved this because the books were chosen just for them, and then he would return all the books at the end of the holidays. It's absolutely free. But I think it really speaks to what this list brought out for us, which is that what really matters is I chose this for you, not how much it costs.
I'm totally doing that. That was amazing. All right.
The hardest I've heard Joe laugh on the show ever.
What are some things that maybe didn't make the top of the list, but you just thought were really special?
Oh, that's a great question. There was one woman who had her signature scent had been discontinued, and so her husband picked out all of these perfume samples that he thought she might like and put them into a box with sommelier liner notes for each perfume so that she could choose her new signature scent for herself. One woman had a really difficult year. She lost both her parents and she went through a divorce, and she was saying to her best friend, the worst part is no one knows my memories. And her best friend watched all of her home videos and then called her on Christmas and said, remember that time when your dad did this? And that was the gift. It was really moving. One woman, her husband had arranged a hotel room for her, sort of left her like a treasure hunt to the hotel room for Valentine's Day. They had two young kids. She gets there, the bed is covered in roses and chocolates, and she's feeling like a little bit of Valentine's Day pressure, but she calls, they have two young kids, she calls him, she's like, thank you, and he's, when are you coming, who's babysitting our kids? And he says, oh no, the hotel room's just for you. You get a night alone tonight. Oh. And that was really memorable to her.
No kidding.
That's awesome. Just tell us, do you have any tips for how to be creative, especially if you're in these moments where you still need a gift? We've just got a week left or so, and maybe some of those sound like really nice, but not something something you would think of on your own. Like, how can people get in the right mindset to think of something like this?
Yes, I think that's a great question. I have both very practical tips, which are like one thing people seem to love that came up a lot was someone who'd gotten a deck of playing cards and then transformed it into 52 reasons I love you, or made little videos of all their family members talking about why they loved this person and collected them into a like edited clip. But in general, I think the mindset is just to really think about the other person, what might remove an inconvenience from their life, what might make their daily life a little better. Some of the answers, one of the very sweet answers we got was a woman who said, my husband and I never exchanged gifts, but one year he just gave me a stapler, like a totally plain stapler. But it was meaningful because he'd noticed that I always was running upstairs to my office to staple things. And he was like, I want you to have a downstairs stapler, so you don't have to do that. I think just really thinking about the other person. The best gifts are the ones that make us feel seen and heard.
That is amazing. I'm starting over my Christmas shopping
I know.
because I feel that was awesome. Nadja, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really
Great to have you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Let's move down to Wall Street now. Tech tensions overseas are catching the Trump administration's attention this morning.
NBC News business and economy reporter Emily Lorsch has your Money Minute. Emily, good morning.
Hi, Joe and Savannah. Good morning. The administration is pushing back on the EU's efforts to tax American tech companies. In a social media post, officials warned the U.S. could impose new fees or restrictions under U.S. trade law. The clash stems from the EU's policies for digital commerce, regulating tech giants like Google, Meta, and Amazon. The U.S. administration also saying it will take a similar approach to other countries that have a strategy like the EU's. And the future of driverless cars may be getting a major cash boost. According to multiple reports, Waymo is in talks to raise more than $15 billion, valuing the robo-taxi company as high as $100 billion. This would be more than double Waymo's last valuation of $45 billion. The company is expected to raise billions from its parent company, Alphabet. Both Waymo and Alphabet didn't immediately respond to our request for comment. Finally, in response to backlash over high World Cup ticket prices, FIFA is introducing supporter entry tier, offering some tickets for $60. FIFA says about 1,000 tickets per game will go to supporters through a selection and distribution process that will be managed by participating member associations. So, guys, there was a ton of outrage, fans saying that they were being priced out. Ticket prices were going for final tickets as high as $8,000. So now they'll have an opportunity, some of them, if they are true fans, FIFA is saying they'll be able to buy them for $60.
That is good news.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, how
message
should it be?
received, yeah.
Emily, thank you so much. Let's stick with money now. Christmas cheer could be coming a week early for the winner of tonight's Powerball drawing.
Whether you're on the naughty list or the nice list, now might be the time to ask Santa for an early present. If you're feeling lucky, tonight's drawing offers one of the largest jackpots of the year.
NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa is in Yonkers, New York, with more on tonight's drawing. Emily, good morning. We got the classic shot going on. You're at a gas station. This one sold some winning tickets earlier this fall. What makes it extra lucky? What do you see in there?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning to you. I can bet what's topping many people's Christmas wish list this year. A cool $1.25 billion sounds pretty nice. You can see I'm slowly collecting my tickets throughout the morning. And these are really special tickets because this store has gotten a bit of a reputation as being a good luck charm. As you walk around here, you'll see these signs here for various prizes and winning tickets that they have sold throughout the year. And as you mentioned earlier this fall, this store sold not one, not two, but $3 million tickets from just one drawing. All eyes tonight will be on that $1.25 billion. If you opt for the cash option, it's closer to $600 million. Hey, I'd be cool with that as well. This has been a jackpot that's been rolling for a record 40-plus drawings straight with no jackpot winner. We'll see if anyone's luck changes tonight. And if you're thinking, you know, it feels like we've had a lot of billion-dollar jackpots in recent years, that's because that is the case. There have been $12 billion jackpots between Mega Millions and Powerball in just the last 5 years. In part, it is by design. There are longer odds because there's a greater range in numbers that are being drawn from. Also, ticket prices, you may have noticed, have been creeping up. Now, if you do beat the odds tonight, 1 in 292 million. It's always a good idea to sign and secure your ticket. But guys, look, I've been on this lotto beat for some time now. I have never won even one of the smaller prizes. So all I am hoping for at this point, I just need to match one of the red Powerball numbers. So it needs to be a 13, an 8, or 26. I just want to win $4 to call myself a lottery winner, you know?
Break even, Emily. That's what we're rooting for tonight. Break even.
Thanks, Emily.
Yeah,
Coming
absolutely.
up, it's a very special Christmas season here in New York.
With Morning News Now returned, I'm going to introduce you to a few of the high-kicking Radio City Rockettes, past and present, as they celebrate their 100th anniversary right across the street. That's next. Stick around. Finally this hour, you'll get a kick out of this holiday tradition. The legendary Radio City Rockettes are celebrating a major milestone this year, their 100th holiday season. I've been lucky enough to profile the Rockettes for years now, but this season, our sit-down interview on that iconic stage was extra special.
You could say the Rockettes are on their own Eras tour inside Radio City Music Hall. The Kick Line is celebrating 100 years, so we brought together 3 eras: Kayla Sue, Lynn Sullivan, and Jean Martin.
What is it like to be back here and to be on this stage?
I love it.
I am flooded with memories.
I'm honestly fangirling myself, just being with you two amazing women.
Jean joined the Rockettes in the early 1950s. Today, at age 93, she still teaches tap dancing.
It's fair to say the Rockettes gave you a lot, right?
Oh, yes. And dancing is still the best part of my life.
As a Rockette, she met her husband, a violinist in the orchestra, and her best friend, Joan.
I miss her a lot because we were like this.
Joan was Lynn's mom.
And I remember being a child and looking up at these women that just seemed so glamorous. And I thought, so someday maybe I will be a Rockette.
That dream came true for Lynn and her sister Leanne, who were among the many Rockette veterans filling the audience this year on opening night of the Christmas Spectacular. And Kayla was on that stage.
I was looking out into the audience, seeing all of you incredible women who have paved the way for me to be up there, standing up, cheering. I just broke down while I was kicking.
What endures for so many is that sense of sisterhood, even when the sister is your late mom.
I have to imagine you've been thinking about your mom?
Yes, my mother would love this. It's just part of who we are, my family. And I think she's with us right now.
Part of a century-long legacy of high kicks and deep roots.
And if you haven't had the chance to catch the Rockettes live yet, don't worry, there is still time. The Christmas Spectacular is running until January 4th. So you can even see it after the holidays.
Not recommend it enough.
Yeah, it's the best.
Such a fantastic show. It is the holiday cheer bomb
Exactly.
in the best way.
Exactly. They do not hold back.
That was awesome, Joe.
All right, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.